Hello and welcome to Kingston Now. I'm Jimmy Buff. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this week we'll talk to the good folks at the Dyson Center for Cancer Care at Vassar Brothers in Poughkeepsie about the work they're doing there and how you can help support it. We'll talk to the Kingston Kiwanis Club about this weekend's Capers fundraiser, and we'll start with Kathy Welby-Moretti, the director of Family of Woodstock's Washburn House, which is here in Ulster County and is a domestic violence shelter.
Yes, it is.
How long has the Washburn House been up and running, Kathy?
We opened the Washburn House in 1980, and we got our license that day. The day we got our license, the shelter was full that night.
Wow, yeah. And you're wearing purple, which is the color
for Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Even in your hair.
Yeah.
So it's been over 30 years, right, that the
Yes.
Washburn House has been open. So it's been that long that domestic violence has sort of been on the radar of the public, the general public. You know, prior to that, it was something that happened right behind closed doors, and people didn't ever really talk about it. How have you seen the awareness about domestic violence change in that time?
Well, what happened was we used to run almost like it was a flop house in Woodstock, where a lot of teenagers would come and sleep on the floor, or homeless men or whatever. And then around the late 70s, we started seeing women and children come. And that's why we saw that, you know, we needed to open up a shelter, that there was a different kind of problem. And the laws have gotten a lot better. In the past, like back then in 1980, the cops would show up at someone's house and they would say, just cool down, take a walk around the block and come back. It was always considered a family matter. People didn't want to get involved. It was between, you know, two husband and wife or a partner, and you know, it was a secret. You know, it was behind closed doors. You know, you mind your own business. Don't get involved with what, you know, is going on at the neighbor's house. But it's changed. People report it now. People want to stop it. The police show up and they have to figure out who their primary aggressor is. They make an arrest. It's a crime.
All big changes in that time, yeah.
Yes.
Back in May, I believe it was, with the 1 Billion Rising events, we had an opportunity to talk to the chief of police for Kingston, Chief Tinty, and he said even 15 years ago, the change between then and now for how police handle domestic violence cases has changed dramatically.
Oh, yes. One of the most newest laws is intent, that you don't have to show intent to prove. I have an older woman, and is one of my clients, and her hip was broken. This man pushed her down and he broke her hip. He got off with the charges because they couldn't prove that when he pushed her down, he intended to break her hip. But that law has changed now. And if he pushes her down again, they don't have to prove it. You know, if you push somebody of that age, you intend to hurt them.
Domestic Violence Awareness Month going on now. I think one of the things that's important about the month, and you can tell me if this is accurate or not, is that people who think they might be a victim of domestic violence hear about this.
Yes.
And they know that there are options like the Washburn House in Ulster County or the Grace Smith House in Dutchess County.
Exactly. You know, I've been doing this for 27 years, and I'm so upset when women come into one of my support groups and they say, if only I had known sooner, I would have called you. And the most important thing is to get the word out so women know that they don't have to stay, and they also know if they're going to leave how to do it safely. Because when a woman decides to leave, and if she tells her batterer that she's leaving, that's when it's the most dangerous time. And that's usually when women get murdered.
And you guys also have the ability to tell someone who's not sure if they're suffering from domestic violence, if that indeed is what's going on.
Yeah, they can come in and just, you know, talk with us. And we'll, you know, it's up to them. We're not going to make anybody do anything to leave or whatever, but we can show them the power control wheel. We can tell them about the cycle of domestic violence and let them decide what's going on in their relationship.
So a lot of changes in the time since the Washburn House has opened, yet every day we open the newspaper and there's another case, another instance of physical violence, domestic violence, sometimes murder, which happens, I think it's every 3 days or something, a woman in the United States is murdered as a result of domestic violence, right?
Yes.
So how do you break that cycle? What changes so that we really diminish?
Well, what we're looking to do now is get into the schools, to start with the kids. I mean, I think we need to talk to our sons. We need to talk to our daughters. We need to start really young. And that's why, like, in the schools, bullying programs are so important. We have to learn at a young age that we respect each other.
I think you told me there's a statistic of children who witness domestic
Are
violence.
60% more likely to become abusers.
Which is a huge, huge percentage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Children learn what they live. I
Indeed.
mean, you know, if they see this every day, that's what they imitate. That's how children learn. So it's really important. And also to watch what our children with social media and video games and, you know, television, what they're seeing. Because it could not even be going on in the home, but they're learning it from those things. I mean, there's so much violence in the world, and I don't understand why it has to be that way.
The Domestic Violence Awareness Month goes obviously to the end of this month. You've gotten great support from local municipalities and police enforcement, as well as County Executive Mike Heine. I know the lights outside the Ulster County office building are purple at night.
And we have a huge banner that says "Zero Tolerance for Domestic Violence in Ulster County." And this year we have 4 billboards that are up. Last year there was 2, and the year before that there was none. So, you know, we're making strides. We definitely are. The Clothesline Project is hanging up inside the county building, and that's a project like the AIDS quilt, where a woman tells her story, what she's been through, and we have about 250 T-shirts that we hang up. And last week we did a big conference at Ulster County Community College for judges, lawyers, for probation, and we had a full house.
Terrific. Well, keep up the extraordinary work. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, Jimmy.
You're watching Kingston Now. Next up, it's a preview of this weekend's Kingston Kiwanis Club Capers Show. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Kingston Now. Each year, the Kingston Kiwanis Club puts on a musical review called The Capers, and here to tell us about this year's event is Greg Riley. Hi, Greg. How are you?
Great, Jimmy. How are you?
Actually, you're now the new president of the Kiwanis Club, right?
Correct. Officially October the 1st.
So you're installed on October 1st, and then you've got the Capers coming this weekend. That's, that's really just jumping into the fire, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like playing your Super Bowl in the first week of the football season, right?
So the Capers has been going on actually for quite some time,
1927 was the first Capers.
1927, and I mean the Capers this year. You're doing a musical review of the play Mamma Mia, correct?
Correct.
But what did they look back to in 1927? Do you know what the first one was?
You know, I don't, but we do have a actual article that we're looking to get refurbished. So once we do that, I'll be more than glad to share it with you. But and we've had several different venues throughout the course of the duration of Capers, but it's a great event. It's great for us to get back to the community, and it's great for us as an organization to spend a whole week together, because everyone has to be involved as part of the criteria.
So the Kiwanis Club, for people who aren't familiar with what you guys do, can you just sort of give us a brief oversight of when you started and what you do in a community?
Sure. So we've been here 92 years in Kingston, the Kingston Club. There's some other clubs in our area, but the Kingston Club's been here for 92 years now. And what we do is we raise money and we do service work. We've done some tabulations over the past 40 years. We've given just over $1.2 million back to the community, and service hours, somewhere around 600,000 hours we've put into the service, back into the community. So it's great for us to be involved in a community that's small and large at the same time, and be recognized for things that we do.
And where does the money go to? Are there specific organizations? Like I know that the Capers goes to scholarship funds for kids going to Coleman and Kingston High School, right? Or coming out of those places.
Correct. Yeah. So Capers, all the proceeds from the ticket sales and the ad sales, which we have great sponsors every year, goes into our scholarship program. We've given out just over $21,000 scholarships for the past 9 years now. We're looking to do the same again next spring.
And the candidates for the scholarships, are there requirements? Are there prerequisites, things that are really important to you as the Kiwanis Club to support? Who are you looking for?
Yeah, so there's an application process. Last year we had just over 130 applicants, and we drew it down to about 32, 33 applicants. And from that, we've given out 20 to 21 scholarships from that. But it's very competitive. and it's varying degrees of qualifications that get you through there. But every single application has to be reviewed by every committee member, or they can't vote on it.
So the capers this year is Mamma Mia. Tell me about it.
So the title is Who's Your Mama? So like Mamma Mia, she's going to get married. The daughter's going to get married, but in this case, she doesn't know who her mother is. Her father was, a guy from the 70s, so he was able to, get around a little bit, and without going into too many details, it's at the end we're going to have some scenes that are going to determine who the mother actually is.
So details about the tickets, where can they get them? Where is the capers this weekend? Where's it happening?
Sure. So the capers is the 24th, 25th, and 26th of October. Starts promptly at 7:30. This year we've changed the way we're doing the ticket sales. We're doing general admission only. So we encourage everyone to purchase tickets beforehand from any Kiwanis members. Go onto our website, which is kingstonkiwanis.org, or call 845-514-4654 for ticket options at that point. We say usually, look 45 minutes to an hour, get there like a movie theater. You go there, get your seat, and you watch the play. $7 this year for seniors, Thursday only, and then $10 for anyone else that wants to attend.
So the capers is one of two really big fundraising events that you do every year. The other is the Kingston Classic. Any changes coming this year? The Classic, I think, is April 27th, 2014, right? It's
correct.
Sunday?
Yeah, we had to move it back a week because of Easter Sunday falls on the 20th in 2014. So we're looking to do a few things different. I mean, obviously, Joe Fay was the president of the club when this first originated. His motto has always been, let's bring something new. So we're gonna do a few things different. We're gonna maybe take a couple things away that we didn't think we really got bang for a buck, or that the runners didn't feel was really worthwhile. And so we're looking to do, keep it fresh.
Well, it sort of hit a low point a few years ago, and then the Kiwanis Club stepped in, and it's sort of back to being a really vital road race, a 10K, and there's also the 2-mile walk too, right?
2.1 mile fun run. We time it, but in actuality, we just want families to come out and a la the Shamrock Run, just come out and enjoy historic Uptown Kingston and get a little exercise while you're doing that. We're looking to probably raise $25,000 this year to give back to the community. I think I skipped your answer earlier, your question. Majority of the money we raise goes back to youth programs here in the Kingston area, and then we also have some senior citizen programs that we fund as well.
Well, it's terrific work you guys are doing, so good luck with the capers, and people have lots of time to get trained up if they want to run the Kingston Classic in April.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here, Greg.
Thanks, Jimmy.
This is Kingston Now. Next up, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we'll be joined by the Dyson Center for Cancer Care at Vassar Brothers in Poughkeepsie to talk about the work they're doing there to treat and cure breast cancer and how you can help support them. You're watching Kingston Now. Breast cancer is a leading cause of death for women in America, and here to talk about what we can do to treat and cure breast cancer is Sandy Cassesi and Sarah Winterleitner of the Dyson Center for Cancer Care at Vassar Brothers in Poughkeepsie. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Sandy, I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
You know so much about breast cancer. You know all the statistics. You know what has happened in the search for a cure over the years. You also know a lot about the treatment of cancer, which seems to be, really important because the cure part can take a long time, but the treatment updates can happen quicker, right?
That's true. And, we talk a lot at the Dyson Center about hope. And I think hope starts with us. And the minute you open the door and you get off the elevator and you see the staff who's warm and welcoming, you get the sense that you're in the right place, that there's people there who know what they're doing. They've done this before. And Sarah's part of that team. She's the nurse practitioner working alongside with Dr. Kelleher and Dr. Zaneski and the rest of the team. And I think kind of in our world, what we're always looking for is what's scientifically evidence-based now. Where are we now in the treatment? Because things change at the speed of light. And I'm always worried when people start talking to me and they say things like, well, when my aunt had breast cancer, and it may have been 20 years ago, and we're talking about a totally different disease these days. There's so many options, and that to me is the hallmark of the center, is that we're really able to personalize medicine so that the treatment that you receive is your treatment for your cancer. Every cancer is different. There's no way to categorize things neatly in a nice, tight little bow. Everybody's different. And there's lots of options, and I think we have a very strong obligation to educate and give people choices. We were talking about that on the way here today, how important it is really to involve patients in their personalized care.
And Sarah, that's what you do. You are, you probably interact with the patients.
I'm hands-on.
Yeah.
Totally hands-on.
I mean, they see the doctors, obviously, for their time.
I'm usually the first line of defense. They come in with their initial issue, whether it's breast pain, a palpable mass, or nipple discharge, or family history that they're concerned about. And so I get the patient all worked up.
Medically, right? Yeah.
Yes,
I think probably
I
you.
work them
Yeah.
down, right. But if there's any imaging findings on exam clinically, if there's masses, we get the correct imaging. I am able to order all the biopsies. We review all the imaging with the radiologists, and really have a very integral part of what happens actually even before they get to the surgeon. And so what my role, and Alexa Morghese is our PA at the office also, so we try to get everything worked up, all the data available to be able to present the case to the surgeon, so it's kind of tied with a bow, and the surgeon can tell them, this is what we can offer you, and here are your options. And we kind of navigate and we kind of support them through the system. So happy are the days when they come in. They, everything is a cancer until proven otherwise when they're first coming in. So those days when we can say everything is good, it's not cancer, come back in 6 months is great. And I really, really feel strongly that what we do for our cancer patients is the best in the area. And I tell people we're going to take really good care of you, and you don't have to go anywhere else. Lots of times people feel like they have to get another opinion at the Mecca per se, and I say, do go and get an opinion if you have to for your family, because usually once they're our patient, they really feel so comfortable and they feel really thankful.
The experience, the human experience, though, of having to go through breast cancer treatment must be terrifying to the vast majority of women who you see. How do you relate that and make it an experience that is, something that's not so scary?
Yeah, I try to tell, and I do have to call people on the phone, and I'm usually the one that tells them about their initial diagnosis, and I try to feel them out, give them the time that they need over the phone. I always block at least 1 hour when I know I'm going to make that phone call, and I usually always try to prepare patients when they're in the office of what our level of suspicion is, so it's not a slap in the face or that it's not a total surprise. And I always ask really about, who are you with right now? Where are you and who are you with, and is there anything is there somebody there to support you if you need it? And I give them my direct line, and I get lots of calls, and sometimes even in the middle of the night, they'll tell me, what their question or their concern is, because our minds as women start to go at night, all night long. And so, and I always make a point of getting back to them and try to answer their usually very personal questions.
One of the things that you do really well that always impresses me, because patients start with the shoulda, coulda, woulda when they get a diagnosis. Maybe I should have had a mammogram sooner, or maybe I should have, done something different. She always says to them, you know what? We're going to look forward. We're no longer looking back.
Because there's no value.
There is
in
no
really
value,
looking
and
back.
you're
I
in
mean,
the
not
right
to the
place.
patient. It might be from your perspective looking back because you want to find out, great ways of early detection and things.
Right.
But for the patient, looking back isn't going to do anything.
It's not helpful.
Yeah. Now, you guys, we full disclosure, I work for a local radio station, WDST Radio Woodstock, and we've worked with the Dyson Center for the past number of years, helping raise money for breast cancer research at the Dyson Center.
This is where I get really excited.
Well, this weekend we have the Pink October Request-a-thon, where people can call in and request a song on the radio for money, and that money, the funds that are raised, go to the Dyson Center. And we've been talking for about a month or two as we plan this about some of the needs that have some of the things that are coming up for the Dyson Center. And one of the needs is a very simple one. It's that you need some software.
We do. And research is just so complicated. Just like breast cancer treatment, there's no one path. There's lots of different paths that you can take through research. It's very time intensive. We're regulated by other bodies like the FDA. You can imagine there's a lot of paperwork that you have to do. We haven't had software that will actually streamline this process. We just have not had the funds to do that. So one of the things that we absolutely know that we will be using this funding for is to purchase that software. We have to follow a patient once they're on a clinical trial, essentially for life.
Well, this weekend, people have a chance to help. They can request a song. They can go to the radiowoodstock.com website to request a song and then listen throughout the weekend. We're going to be at the Poughkeepsie Galleria both Saturday and Sunday, taking requests in person as well as online and on the telephone. And we're so thrilled to be partnered up with you guys again this year. So let's raise some money for breast cancer research at the Dyson Center.
Can't wait. It is always the best weekend. We always say at the Dyson Center, this is all the holidays wrapped up in one for us. We have such excitement the night before this starts because such great things happen. And every single year, without fail, we find out that people in our community come to our center after having heard all of this, on the radio and all the discussions that we have, and they say, you know what, today's the day. I've been listening and I really need to do something about my own health, and I'm here. And we just say, you know what, this is exactly what was supposed to happen. So,
all right, well, get some rest because we have a long weekend ahead. Okay,
fabulous.
Sandy? Okay, and Sarah too. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
That's it for this week's show. Thanks to Kathy Welby-Moretti. Find out more about domestic violence services at familyofwoodstock.org. Thanks to Greg Riley. For more about this weekend's Kiwanis Club Capers, go to kingstonkiwanis.org. And for more about the Dyson Center and the Pink October Requestathon, go to radiowoodstock.com. Remember, all of our previous shows are available on the Kingston Now YouTube channel, and you can find that link on our Facebook page. For Kingston Now, I'm Jimmy Buff. We'll see you next time.